And welcome to this episode of season 6 of the Dr. Tech Show, where myself, Pauline Roche, and Sweyn Hunter, and often guests talk about digital topics, including the world of online communications and digital inclusion, in a show which was the brainchild of digital storyteller, the late, and we miss him a lot, John Popham. Sweyn, how are you? Where are you? And what's the weather like there?
Well, I'm on my travels this week. I'm in Edinburgh Central Library on the music mezzanine floor.
Mm,
And I'm talking in perhaps a slightly more muted voice because there are people around me and the window's open, allowing lots of traffic noise in, but I don't think you can hear too much of that.
no.
The weather is beautiful. It's cool, but very sunny, and it's a lovely day to be in Edinburgh.
Excellent. Well, here in the west of Ireland, it is cloudy skies, but no rain so far. And I was in Birmingham for the last few days, and it was a mixture of rain and sun, so very pleasant. And but I'm very glad to be back in Ireland. So you're on your travels, Swain. What is there a reason for that?
Yes, I am taking part in a walking challenge, and I decided to use that. And there was a group of us going to do a walk together yesterday in Glasgow, so I decided I would use that as an opportunity to visit my sons in Glasgow, and I've taken the day trip to Edinburgh today to visit the Palestinian Museum in Edinburgh
Oh,
to have a look at that. So,
fascinating. Great stuff.
and here I am in the library, who
And here you
have been
are.
very accommodating. So it's good.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Okay, you've got some dates for us from the 1st of June.
Yes, the first date is Pride Month, the whole of June.
Hmm.
We normally mark this, and the origins of Pride go back to 1969, because on the 28th of June that year, early in the morning, there was a riot following a police raid on the Stonewall Inn, which was a gay bar in Christopher Street in Greenwich Village, Manhattan. And in protest at the raid, um, a number of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people rioted in response. And that riot and further protests and rioting over the following night were the watershed moment in the modern LGBTQ rights movement,
Hmm.
and the impetus for organizing LGBTQ pride marches on a much larger scale. So that's how it started. And then uh, nothing. Yes, there we go. Here we go. Yes, here we go. And that's so by now, moving forward to today, there are hundreds or thousands of Pride events all over the world. On this page, I found lists 304 Pride or LGBTQ events in the UK
Hmm.
and a total of 1,269 events in 58 countries this year.
Hmm.
Now, if we scroll down to Scotland, here we go. Am I sharing this?
Yeah, it's on screen. It's
Uh,
the Wikipedia page, yeah?
okay, no, I'm not sharing the
Oh,
other thing.
okay.
Not to
Mm.
worry, but it does. I was just checking Scotland events, and it does list Shetland Pride, but it doesn't list Orkney Pride, which was not yesterday, the day before yesterday. So that's all good. So there's actually 305 events at least in the UK. So that's
Excellent. And there's one in Bourneville as well in Birmingham that started recently. So
yes,
that's not listed. That's another one. So it's great to see that happening.
yeah.
Mm.
So I'm operating with a one fewer monitor than normal. So my sharing is perhaps even more haphazard than normal. Let's see if we can find the next story though, one somewhere. Uh, Here we go. Yes, that's it. That's the page with.
Mm.
Am I sharing?
No, not yet.
No, not yet. Where have you gone?
We're
There
looking
you
for
are.
National Button Battery Awareness Day.
Yes, and I'm looking. Yeah,
Oh, it started.
that's the previous. That's the second Pride.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. Yeah, that looks really good.
So there's a whole that's all the countries are listed, you see,
Hmm.
and all the events as well. Anyway, we've moved on now to Button Battery Awareness Day, which is something I hadn't really heard of until I found it
Mm.
in a list somewhere.
Hmm.
And what this is that it was founded on the 12th of June by in 2021 by Trista Hamsmith.
Mm.
in memory of her 18-month-old daughter Reese, who passed away after ingesting, that is, swallowing
Mm.
a button battery, a tiny little button
Oh.
battery. So during this day, and last week was Child Safety Week as well, additional efforts are made to raise awareness about the risk of swallowing button batteries, and
Mm.
that's done in collaboration with the European Society for Pediatric Gastroenterology, Hepatology, and Nutrition.
Mm.
And campaign provides families, educators, caregivers, and health professionals and policymakers with crucial information and guidelines on preventing button battery ingestion and also what to do if it occurs.
Mm.
So we've got a short video for this, if I
Right.
can but find where it is. I think that is where it is. So I thought we'd maybe just watch the video for a couple of minutes.
Mm.
Consumer batteries are essential to our day-to-day lives. We use a wide variety of batteries in different sizes and shapes to power the many appliances we use. Two particular types of batteries are the button and coin cells. These are batteries specially designed for smaller appliances such as hearing aids, toys, musical cards, watches, fidget spinners with LED lights, and small medical devices. These batteries have the shape of a button or coin and are available in different sizes. Since these batteries are very small, there is a risk that they are unintentionally ingested by children. In most cases, these will pass through the body naturally without causing any harm. However, it is possible that button or coin cell batteries, when swallowed, stay stuck in the food pipe. This can be very dangerous and, at worst, even fatal. Special attention should be given to batteries that are 16mm and larger in diameter, as they are more likely to get stuck in a child's food pipe. Special care is also needed if the swallowed battery is of a lithium-based technology, referred to as a coin cell. These also have a higher voltage range compared to other button cells. If a lithium coin cell gets stuck, these can generate an electric current between the battery and the tissue fluid in the food pipe. This will cause severe damage and requires urgent medical attention to immediately remove the battery. Most incidents occur at home. The batteries can come out of appliances that the child is playing with, or from batteries lying loose around the house. The shiny surface of the battery can be very appealing for a child who is exploring their environment. In order to prevent these incidents from happening, here are some practical tips. First of all, store small batteries out of sight and reach of young children. Do not store small batteries in pill boxes or place them together with medication. Their shape and size make them easily mistaken for medication. When opening a pack which includes multiple button battery cells, make sure that children cannot access the batteries which remain in the open packs. Make certain that the battery compartment of any product present in your house is securely closed and cannot be accessed by children. In addition, place appliances out of the reach of young children. Now, what should you do if your child has ingested a button or coin cell? In case of a swallowed battery, seek immediate medical attention at a hospital emergency room. As a general principle, do not let your child eat or drink until an X-ray can determine if a battery is present. Also, do not induce vomiting. If you still have the appliance containing the battery or the original product packaging, then please take this with you to help the doctor identify the battery type and chemistry. For further advice, you can also contact your National Anti-Poison Centre. For more on battery ingestion safety, go to buttonbatterysafety.com.
Mm. Wow.
So that's our public safety announcement for today.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
never really heard of this.
No.
So it's quite obvious when it's pointed out, but I guess people don't necessarily realize.
Mm.
So that's my dates today.
Okay. Great, thank you very much. And I've picked up one event which is actually happening today in London. It's an event actually during London Tech Week. They're looking at digital exclusion, which is a new development for London Tech Week. They're normally looking at more high tech um, matters, and so I was quite delighted to see this happening. And of course, it's our friends at the Digital Poverty Alliance who are hosting this. It's a fringe event on digital exclusion and accessibility regulations, and it's led by the DPA CEO Elizabeth Anderson. And this session is going to look at the EU Accessibility Act, where the UK stands, and why accessibility needs to be treated as part of digital inclusion. The blurb says when online services are hard to use, poorly designed, or built without different needs in mind, existing barriers become harder to get past. Better accessibility also helps people who are less digitally confident by making websites and services clearer, simpler, and easier to navigate. And the article this came with goes on to say, whilst national government services set a gold standard of digital accessibility, not all public sector services are subject to this. More recently, the EU Accessibility Act has brought a focus on accessibility for private sector organisations operating in the EU, but the UK lacks sufficient legislation. Such legislation has the ability to revolutionise how services are used by those with differing needs, and with 1 in 3 disabled people living in poverty, the intersection with digital exclusion is clear. Truly accessible websites also often offer a cleaner and more intuitive user experience for those who are less digitally confident, and frequently have other benefits for brands such as better SEO and performance effects. However, accessibility is often considered complex, specialist, and time-consuming to implement rather than openly available to all, a particular concern for charities, community organizations, and small businesses. So that sounds like a really good event to be at. So if I think there's probably still accepting sign-ups. It's today between 1:30 and 3:30 in London. As I say, it's a fringe event with London Tech Week. So I highly recommend attendance of that one. And that's our event for today.
Very good.
So
Yes.
there we go. And as we have no guest, although we are in discussions with several people who might be guests before the end of this season, none today. So we will go on to our stories for today. Is that okay with you, Sweyn?
Yes, that's great.
Okay. So the first one is by Apiolu Akinola about Nigeria's visually impaired community. Watching closely, they say. And the article is about a new registrar at the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board in Nigeria. And the article says Nigeria's visually impaired community is watching closely as the board welcomes a new registrar. The question on every blind candidate's mind, will this mark a turning point towards genuine digital inclusion? Computer-based testing on equal terms with sighted peers, or will it mean more of the same regressive approach that quietly buried Braille question papers and replaced them with outdated workarounds, like having exam questions read aloud? This is not just about sitting an examination. Stakes are far higher. When a blind candidate demonstrates digital competence, and passes a CBT examination independently, they step onto the path of academic and professional competitiveness. They enter classrooms and workplaces not as tokens, but as equals. When that opportunity is denied, the message sent, however unintentionally, is that blind persons are underqualified, dependent, and present only out of obligation. That is not inclusion. That is exclusion, dressed up in the language of accommodation. The incoming registrar holds a doctorate in ICT. That background carries a responsibility and, the writer believes, a genuine opportunity. As a blind professional whose life's work is equipping visually impaired Nigerians with digital skills and assistive technology, I'm personally making myself available to support JAMB, the board, in getting this right. The tools exist, the expertise exists. What is needed is the will. Anything less is not a policy choice, it is a denial of fundamental human rights. So thanks to Opiolu for writing that. Yeah, it's important that disabled people get a chance to participate on an equal footing with everybody else. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, should we move on to the next one, Sweyn?
Yeah, let's move on.
Yep. Okay, great. Thank you. The next one is by Andrew Tugume, and this is this based in Uganda? I know it's not, yeah, it is Uganda, sorry. Um, and the headline is Connected but Not Included. Is owning a mobile phone enough to enter the digital economy? And the piece says in Arawa town, a young produce trader scrolls through her smartphone between customers. She uses WhatsApp to coordinate deliveries from farmers and receives mobile money payments from Kampala buyers. Increasingly, she is also part of a growing wave of informal digital entrepreneurs using TikTok and other social media platforms to market their products. Through short videos, sometimes even dancing while showcasing fresh produce, she attracts customers, builds visibility, and differentiates herself in a competitive market. This shift signals a deeper transition. Mobile phones are no longer just tools for communication and transactions, but powerful platforms for marketing, creativity, and income generation in Uganda's evolving digital economy. She owns a smartphone, she has a mobile money wallet, she even makes digital payments, but she has never saved formally. She's never accessed digital credit. She has no insurance. She has no digital financial history that can unlock larger opportunities. She's connected but not fully included. And across Uganda, the writer says, this is a defining paradox of digital transformation. Mobile phone ownership is rising, yet meaningful participation in the digital economy remains uneven. Uganda, further down the article, it says Uganda has made significant strides in expanding digital access. Mobile phones have democratized access to financial services, lowered geographic barriers, and brought millions closer to the formal financial system. Yet ownership is only the beginning. True participation in the digital economy depends on systems that convert connectivity into capability, and capability into economic empowerment. Without the right infrastructure, products, protections, and skills, access risks access risks remaining superficial. The question is no longer whether mobile phones can enable inclusion, but whether our financial, regulatory, and innovation ecosystems are strong enough to ensure that every phone owner can fully participate. Being connected is powerful, but being included is transformative. So I thought that was useful. Again, it kind of we like to look at what's happening in other countries besides the UK and Ireland, um, but also because we can learn. We learn so much from each other, and can benefit from each other's learning. So well done to the young produce trader in Arrowa Town. It'd be great to see some of those TikToks of showing her dancing while showcasing fresh produce. Maybe we can have a look at that another time. Okay, shall we move on again, Swain?
Yes, indeed. I'm keeping my mic on audio, so I'm nodding.
Okay.
I'm on mute, I should say.
Okay, fine. I've got you up I've gotten you a different screen. So anyway, we'll try and keep an eye on each other. The next article is by Matt Burgess from Wired, which is a kind of a news site. And this is an article about the move to ditch US technology, and he says it's accelerating. He says the move to ditch US technology is accelerating. A Wired analysis has documented dozens of public instances of companies, governments, NGOs, and education establishments stepping away from US technology companies in favor of open source or local alternatives. His tracker, which he has shared in this article, now lists almost 40 examples and is listed, including organizations ditching US tech, political decisions to reduce dependence, and tech developments. And the link, as I say, is in the comments on this article. He gives a full public tracker of almost 40 efforts to abandon or replace US technology in Europe. And are you able to open the link on the article, Swain? Uh, the I think it was in the post actually there was a link to the Proton and or the Google Sheet. So if you go back to the article,
All right, hang on.
yeah, if you go, oh yeah, if you go to
In the
the
comments, he
comments,
did
yeah,
say the
yeah, there we
comments,
go.
didn't he?
Yep, yeah,
Is that appearing now?
yes, it's coming up. Oh, couldn't find that one. Oh dear. Try again. Hang on, loading document. And it's coming. Yeah. And I know we've talked to
Oh, wow.
others about this before. And I often, write about alternatives to the big companies. So here we have a list of up to 40 or more. Um, it gives the country, the organization, the description of the tech, and then the source and the source where the story came from. So a lot like kind of the kind of stories that we cover every week when we're here. Um, just to look at a few there, you can see there's that free sewing one that seemed interesting. The group Free Sewing, which provides open source software to create sewing patterns, moved its infrastructure in Europe. Oops, I've lost the link now. I'm not reading it anymore. You've got a page loading on screen, Sweyn.
I clicked it. I clicked that story.
Oh,
That's
okay,
why.
yeah.
So were you reading off the
I was
screen?
just
You
reading
were.
it. Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. Let's go back to there.
Yeah. Um, Sewing Patterns moved its infrastructure to European services, including email, social media, backend services, and software repositories. People trust us with their data, and we feel a moral obligation to safeguard that data, even from a potential adversarial administration in the US.
So I'll show you the
So
link now, shall I? Because
yeah,
it's
sure.
oh
Ah,
there.
it says it can't
Oh
be
no,
reached.
there we
Oh,
are.
here we go. Yeah.
So there's a whole
So this
story
was
there
from
behind it as
last year,
well.
actually, but yeah,
Yeah, interesting.
I think people are looking at alternatives
Yeah, I'm
for
gonna have a look at this.
finance as much as anything else. Yeah. Do you want to scroll down and see if there's any more of those that catch your eye? Austria, Germany, Netherlands,
International Criminal
international.
Court
Oh yes. Read that one out then.
is moving its work systems away from Microsoft Office to OpenDesk, which is developed by the German Center for Digital Sovereignty of the Public Administration. And the move follows United States sanctions against multiple ICC officials in February 2025. Wow,
Very
that's
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think
There's
France as a whole has kind of said that they will be moving away all their government departments from Microsoft.
yeah, there was one you were looking at there, France. If you
Yeah,
could scroll up again, I
yeah.
think it was said about France. Yeah,
Uh,
all that was Airbus,
that's, yeah,
University, France. Yeah,
did I miss it again?
I think so.
Civil Service and
Um,
State Reform Ministry. Yes, all
there we go.
French government services will start using video conferencing tool Visio by the start of 2027. It's already been used by 40,000 government members of staff, and it's a video call platform as part of the wider French open source digital sovereignty effort, La Suite, which also offers transcription and, crucially, data that's stored in France. So yeah,
Absolutely important. Yeah,
that's very interesting.
yeah,
Lots of
um,
examples there. There's about 40, aren't there?
yeah, yeah.
38 examples.
There's a few in the UK. Um, in this
There we
one, what's
go.
the United Kingdom one? Oh, yeah, DCIT. The UK government launched a $50,675 million fund to help growth artificial intelligence startups in the country.
All right,
Dubbed
okay.
Sovereign AI, startups in its portfolio will be able to access the country's supercomputers, be provided with free visas for staff, and access to specialist government officials. Okay.
Yes, good. Yeah,
Mm,
great.
yeah. So we will share that with our friends, including friends at Recognition Circular, who often write and talk about this as well. So yeah, I'm all for alternatives, so people have choices.
Yes, I think as we become less dependent on Word documents, as more and more things go online in other formats, the slight differences that you can get between Office systems are perhaps less important than they used to be.
Mm, yeah.
Um, I think it'll still cause issues where Word documents are important or that sort of format is important. But
Mm,
it's probably a small price to pay to move away from technology that, could become quite problematic
mm,
depending on how the US situation goes.
yeah. Yes. Good to have alternatives. Okay, moving on with the next story today is about building connections in your library. This Loneliness Awareness Week, which is in fact next week, Loneliness Awareness Week. We got the article for today, and it this June next week will be the 10th anniversary of Loneliness Awareness Week, and the article is about libraries looking to make more connections in communities across the UK and the world than ever before. The article says libraries are calm, trusted spaces at the heart of communities. People come to read, reflect, study, discover stories, and to feel part of something. Even in quiet spaces, connection can happen through shared surroundings, thoughtful conversations, and the stories we explore. So this year, Libraries Connected is warmly inviting libraries to help create gentle, welcoming spaces for reflection and connection during Loneliness Awareness Week. The week is led by the Marmalade Trust, and as I said, it's next week, 15th to 21st of June. And this year's tagline is "Giving Loneliness a Voice," putting human experiences at the heart of the campaign and creating space for people to express what loneliness feels like for them. And why it matters is because loneliness affects millions of people across the UK. While 82% of adults say they feel lonely at least some of the time, 61% of them have never spoken to anyone about how they feel. Loneliness Awareness Week helps reduce stigma by encouraging open conversations and opportunities for meaningful connection. It reminds people that loneliness is a natural human emotion that we will all experience at some point in our lives. So I probably stole a march on one of your dates for next week, Sweyn, but
That's
I
fine.
thought it was important.
And I'm in a library, and there are lots of people happily interacting with each other in a warm
Yeah.
space. And yeah, it's just a lovely thing to see and
Yeah.
to be in the middle of.
We attended an event, didn't we, recently, where I recommended libraries as partners
Yes.
for what was that one again?
Now you've got me. Something very important.
It was something very important. Let me look at my
Um,
diary, see if I can get it up. Uh,
digitaling.
what was the who does AI work for? The LGAI
That's what it was.
event.
It was the
Yes.
AI thing.
LGAI.
Yes,
Yeah,
in local government. Yeah.
yeah. So they were talking about who could help people, and I recommended libraries as places where people could get help that they might find very useful. So yeah, all for the libraries. Okay, we'll move on. And I think you just brought up the next story, which
I
is
did.
edition three, probably of a series that I didn't get the first and second editions of. But anyway, this one is about the digital inclusion deficit, designing barriers out of your brand by Maya Sorolu, Moyo Soreoula Lua Tea. I did actually visit Maya Sorula's LinkedIn page where she does have a guide to pronunciation of her name. And I'm sorry I've mangled it, but we mean well. And the link will be in the show notes as usual. So this is talking about what she calls a silent conversation killer. Oh, sorry, conversion killer that nobody in the premium branding space is willing to admit: accessibility. She says, when we talk about digital innovation in 2026, we love to highlight complex AI engines, interactive data models, and high bandwidth immersive web experiences. But here's the stark reality of digital equity. If your brand ecosystem requires a flawless, lightning fast 5G connection and a high end device just to navigate, you aren't owning the room, you're gatekeeping it. True innovation isn't about how complicated you can make your technology, it's about how seamlessly your technology serves human beings. And she goes on to say, to build a truly resilient, high converting brand, you must design your digital touch points with inclusion at the core. So her three bullet points here are: optimize for frictionless access, ensure your hallway strategy, your landing pages, email sequences, and digital products is lightweight, mobile first, and lightning fast. High value leaders are busy. They value speed and efficiency over excessive visual flair. Second bullet point, diversify your content mediums. Not everyone consumes information in the same way. Some members of your tribe prefer a deep dive written newsletter. Others want a quick short form video on the go. And some need a simple audio breakdown. By presenting your core frameworks across different formats, you make your authority accessible to diverse learning styles. And final bullet point, clarity over complexity. True digital leadership means taking complex, intimidating concepts, whether it's green bonds, algorithmic marketing, or advanced data systems, and breaking them down into clear, actionable prose. So I thought that again that was useful, written for an African context, but transferable to all
Absolutely.
the
Yes.
all the situations we find ourselves in. I particularly like saying that, if your brand requires lightning fast 5G connection, you know, it's a lot of people still don't have that in any country in the world. In many countries in the world, it's still not the norm. So, yeah, lowest common denominator, I
Um,
always say.
it's important for accessibility as well. The simpler and more the lighter the footprint of a web tool, the
Hmm.
more likely it's going to be accessible. Although you still have to put some effort into making sure that it actually is. But
Yeah,
as a principle, it's a good start.
yeah. So well done for putting that together and giving people, very helpful, tangible solutions to not just saying it's a problem, but giving some solutions along the way. So thank you for that. Um, Moving on to another part of the world. This is about Sri Lanka. And the article is entitled "Beyond Internet Access: Why Digital Inclusion Matters More Than Ever in Sri Lanka." And this is by Mitham Soisa, Strategy and Future Workforce Intelligence Specialist and founder of Future U. He writes that the digital economy is often viewed through simple lens. Provide internet access, expand connectivity, and economic opportunities will follow. However, he says, my recent research on rural gig workers in Sri Lanka suggests that the reality is far more complex. Digital inclusion is not simply about having access to technology, it's about having the ability to meaningfully participate, compete, and succeed within an increasingly digital economy. As digital platforms continue to transform employment, commerce, education, and public services, participation in economic life is becoming increasingly dependent on digital capabilities. For many workers, particularly in rural communities, access alone does not guarantee opportunity. A worker may possess a smartphone and an internet connection, yet still struggle to benefit from digital platforms due to, and we're familiar with these as we've seen them so many times before, limited digital literacy, poor connectivity quality, platform usability challenges, limited understanding of digital systems, and inadequate access to digital support networks. These barriers create a new form of inequality that is often invisible within traditional economic discussions. The findings from his research, he says, indicate that workers who possess stronger digital capabilities are generally better positioned to access opportunities more efficiently, respond quickly to platform demands, maintain stronger platform visibility, adapt to technological changes, and generate more sustainable income streams. So that is looking at digital inclusion from a more economic uh, framework, but that's still worth repeating for some people. That's why digital inclusion needs to be part of the planning for all workforce planning.
Yeah, we've got a good theme going through the stories this
Mm,
week, I think, and it's basically focusing on usability and accessibility and clarity
yeah,
over and above trying to over complicate or over technologize things, if that's a word. Is technologize
yeah,
a word? It is now.
yeah. And we probably have a few more of those stories before we finish today. Moving on, we'll go to the next one, which is from the Family Fund in UK. And this is a report entitled Digitally Excluded, which draws on reports from 660 families raising disabled or seriously ill children across the UK. It shows that 9 in 10 respondents, 93%, to a UK-wide survey of families raising disabled children in lower income households are being digitally excluded or at risk or
What am I
at,
doing?
or are at risk of exclusion. That's a huge number, isn't it? Due to financial disadvantage, many families are just one broken digital device or one broadband bill away from being forced offline. So, an extract from the summary of findings is that over half, 56% of families are digitally excluded due to a lack of internet access, device access, and/or digital skills and confidence. 37% of families are online but at risk of digital exclusion, due to financial vulnerabilities and needing support from others to use online services and digital devices. and only 7% of families meet the criteria for digital inclusion. And there are other, there is other information. This is in the full report, Sweyn. I just took those, that summary from the full report. But in the item on screen, you do have the recommendations, and we'll just read through them then. So the recommendations from the Family Fund are: one, that digital access must be affordable and inclusive, so families raising disabled or seriously ill children on a low income are not left behind. So that's about affordability. Digital access needs to be recognised as an essential living cost in national and local government guidance, allowing existing financial support from the state to cover digital inclusion costs. This needs to include repairs for digital technology and assistive software. I think sometimes in the past, Sweyn, or even now, fixing digital devices has been seen as a luxury, not as an essential, and this report clearly says how essential this is.
Yes.
Public services need to be accessible across all mobile networks without using mobile data, so families can access health, education, benefits, and support services even when they have no data. And again, it's something we've repeated often on this show.
And that's the zero rating
Yeah.
thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Again, under affordable, the article says the recommendation is the UK government should work with industry to deliver a co-funded EU-wide social tariff covering both broadband and mobile data, ensuring low-income households have fast, reliable, and affordable internet wherever they are. And finally, digital devices and assistive technology need to be funded for low-income families raising disabled children and young people. So that's just a kind of blanket recommendation, because exclusion of this particular group, hits harder than some other groups. So yeah, we would agree with that. And sorry, it goes on to say this should include devices for parents and carers, as well as for children and young people. Absolutely. Protective cases for devices, warranty cover for accidental damage like cracked screens or spills, and fast replacement options for broken devices. I think they are that's a really hopeful request there. But yeah, let's hope that somebody out there can hear what the Family Fund is saying about the affordability and making these things affordable for children, young people, and carers and parents. Also, it says this should be inclusive. Rural connectivity needs investment to close the urban-rural digital gap. Local digital inclusion programs need investment, particularly in high deprivation areas, so there's accessible support for disabled children and parent carers. Support should include help to use key online services, managing children's safety online, and advice on accessing financial support for access. All national and local public sector digital services must be fully accessible, tested with diverse users and assistive technologies. And finally, in this section, digital tools and access should be co-designed with families most affected, ensuring digital inclusion is baked in, not bolted on. And that's the Good Things Foundation mantra at the moment: baked in, not bolted on. Yeah, I mean, again, this is talking about the UK, but it relates to other stories we've heard today and in other shows. Closing the urban rural digital gap and investment in local digital inclusion programs. Yeah. And then the second part of the recommendation is that offline access needs to be improved to guarantee anyone, anywhere can easily use and enjoy essential public services. And again, this is the net zero reference. Just kind of, kind of expanding on the theme, UK and devolved governments must ensure that public services are accessible offline. UK and devolved governments should issue guidance requiring local authorities and public service providers to offer easily accessible offline routes for those who need them. Government digital transformation projects must factor in the needs of those who are not online and ensure they can continue to access services. And the UK government must make sure local government receives enough funding to provide offline access to services. So very comprehensive recommendations there, Sweyn, that I'm sure you and others can agree with.
Yes, it's another report saying these things in different words, and
Yeah.
I guess it still needs to keep being said because we still need to do lots of work to make sure that everything is complying with those things.
Yeah, it's particularly when they give us such stark data at the beginning about 93% of the respondents to the survey are being digitally excluded or at risk of exclusion. That's just a no-brainer, really. Okay, we will go on to another story about the problem of digital exclusion, and this is again about access as accessibility. And this is by Paul Graham, a digital tech lead and Optimizely consultant. Um, and the article that he kind of links to in his LinkedIn article I thought was quite complicated language, so I've just stuck to the text from the LinkedIn post, and then people can go into more detail if they want to link to the further writing that he's done. But he says that beneath flawless semantic HTML and high contrast designs lies a massive blind spot, structural access. Paul says we are building AI-heavy, compute-intensive web paradigms that completely alienate users restricted by legacy hardware and patchy network connectivity. It's time to redefine inclusive design as resilient, multi-channel infrastructure. And he gives some bullet points to illustrate this. He talks about the 3.1 billion usage gap. Billions remain offline, not due to coverage, but strict hardware affordability and connectivity limits. Second point, privacy as inclusion. Marginalized users rely heavily on shared devices, making strict zero trust architectures essential for digital safety. Third bullet point here, lightweight architecture wins. Building for low bandwidth environments systematically improves load times and SEO rankings for all users. Fourth point, beyond the browser, true resilience requires cellular data bypasses SMS, USSD, and offline first storage to guarantee continuous service. And the final bullet point here is massive market expansion. Tackling this architectural debt unlocks entirely new global demographics while drastically cutting legacy support overhead. So that's a huge thing. That's global, isn't it, Sweyn? That's not just the
Abs
UK.
Absolutely, no,
Mm,
that's great. It's kind of boiling down to making sure that whatever system you're using, if where at all possible, can carry on working, even though if you temporarily lose connections, like you can still continue to work at it, and then the app should be able to catch up
mm,
afterwards when the connection reestablishes. Yeah, it's great.
yeah. So it felt to me like nearly a playbook for
Mm,
anybody who really wants to get their
mm.
head around this. So well done to Paul for bringing that to our attention. And yeah, worth following up on. Back to a more global picture, and this is the evolving landscape of digital inclusion in India. And this is by an article by the Quantum Hub, again on LinkedIn, who've released a study. Let me just get to it. The evolving landscape of digital inclusion in India, in collaboration with the National Council of Applied Economic Research and with support from the Women in Digital Economy Network initiative. Drawing on nationally representative data from the India Human Development Survey, conducted across 47,000 households and 212,000 individuals, it provides one of the most comprehensive assessments of digital inclusion in India to date and examines digital participation through three interconnected dimensions: access, quality, and outcomes. What makes this report significant is its ability to move beyond conventional metrics. While much of the discourse has focused on infrastructure and connectivity, this research examines the full continuum from access to meaningful participation and outcomes. So, among its key findings, the article says 95% of households now own a mobile device, reflecting near universal mobile reach. However, only 8% own a computer laptop, limiting their ability to do complex tasks online. Another point, 1 in 5 households needs help from outside the household to access digital services, rising to nearly 1 in 3 among households with no education. And thirdly, women's participation remains a major frontier among working age adults. 57.6% of men use the internet, compared to just 35.6% of women, and the female to male ratio narrows but does not close as economic status rises. So there's some more stark figures, Sweyn, of exclusion. So yes, it's true that nearly all households now have a mobile device, but only 8%
Yes,
own a computer or laptop. I mean, that's really
and when you think of
huge.
the work that the Digital Poverty Alliance has done on that as well to try and make sure that young people, for example, have keyboard devices to do academic work on, um, then obviously that has parallels in other countries as well, like
Mm,
in India as well too.
yeah. So we hope that bringing this information to the attention of those who listen and follow our program will make them think about what needs to happen. And if we can help them, please let us know. Okay, we have two more stories. I don't know if we get to the last one. Shall we? Which one would you like to do, Sweyn?
I'm in your hands. You just choose one.
I think we'll go to the Pope.
Okay,
Let's finish on the Pope.
let's finish with the Pope.
Yeah. And this is the Pope has issued an encyclical on AI, and this is a Substack article about this by Paul Matthews. And the document is called Magnifica Humanitas. Is that Latin? It must be, because I think they would
Yeah.
use Latin for this sort of thing. Yeah. So Paul says, cards on the table. I'm not a Catholic. I am Christian, though. But even if you aren't, good thinking is good thinking. And this is some of the clearest writing on AI I've read all year. So he's read all 245
245
paragraphs
paragraphs. My
of the
goodness.
encyclical,
I
and
hope they're not all in Latin.
here's what stood out for Paul. Number one, we don't get to opt out of this moment. The encyclical refuses to treat AI as merely yet another theme to be studied or a crisis to be managed. It's already here. The toothpaste is out of the tube. Paul's words, not the Pope's. Pretending it's not happening or that it's someone else's problem is not a responsible option.
There.
Okay, very good. Number two, we are building something. The only question is what? This is the heart of the whole document. The Pope uses two images from the Bible: Babel, a tower built on pride and efficiency that ends in confusion, and Jerusalem, a city rebuilt piece by piece through shared responsibility. The primary choice is not between a yes or a no to technology, but rather between constructing Babel
Ah,
or rebuilding Jerusalem. So, the question, we will build something, but what will we build? Number three, technology is never neutral. Technology is never neutral because it takes on the characteristics of those who devise, finance, regulate, and use it. Paul says he said this for years, borrowing from Neil Postman. Good to see it stated so plainly.
yes.
Absolutely. We've
Yes.
always say that, it's the builders, they reflect
Yes.
themselves in the stone of the building. So yeah. Number four, AI is cultivated, not built, and we really don't understand it. Even the people, Paul says, who design these systems have only a limited understanding of how they actually work. Nobody is fully in control. This should make all of us a little more humble. Definitely. Number five, don't confuse this intelligence with yours. Paul says AI systems merely imitate certain functions of human intelligence. I think he's quoting from the encyclical there.
Yes.
And again, he says, quoting, they do not undergo experiences, do not possess a body, do not feel joy or pain. Very worthwhile pointing out. They can simulate empathy without having any. The word intelligence may smuggle in ideas that simply aren't true. Very well put. What would it be called if it wasn't artificial intelligence? Artificial
Oh,
computing,
wow.
or anyway,
Yes. Yes.
one to ponder on. Number six, Paul says, having more is not being more. Progress without moral growth produces an increase in means without a growth in humanity. More capability does not automatically mean a better life. Having more is not an automatic good. Very true. Number seven, watch who holds the power. AI, and again quoting, tends to amplify the power of those who already possess economic resources, expertise, and access to data. Paul says a small number of private actors increasingly set the rules. That concerns everyone, believer or not.
And that's good. That's related to the fact that the suggestion that technology is never neutral. That's
Yeah,
a related
definitely.
thing, isn't it? Yeah.
And final point of Paul's 8 points: a civilization is judged by its care, not its power. And he says, here's my favorite line in the whole document, and quoting here: the quality of a civilization is measured not by the power of its means, but by the care it's able to offer, by its ability to recognize the other as a face, not merely as a function. As Paul says, wow, and readily applicable to the classroom. Overall, he said he thought this was a magnificent read. It's tough, dense, but incredibly valuable, and he commends it to everyone, regardless of your faith position. So that brings us to the end of our story today, and I'm really glad to finish on that. I am a
Yes.
Catholic, but I think this would be recommended reading for anyone of any faith, really, and none, because It's about things that are affecting us now.
I've seen lots of. I mean, that's a really brilliant kind of extracting of principles from the document. But I've seen lots of writers from a whole variety of backgrounds speaking about the publication in much the same terms,
Yeah.
just about its clarity, its focus on humanity, and its uncompromising kind of challenge, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
I think this Pope is not afraid of doing that, and we've seen that in
Mm,
other platforms he's taken
mm,
as well. So well done.
mm.
And that brings us to the end of the show this week. So Sweyn, you've come from a new studio. And what do they call this? Well, they do an external broadcast.
An outside broadcast, yes.
One of our outside broadcasts. We have done them before, but
We have.
usually me. But yeah, now you, which is
Yeah,
great.
I have a memory of trying to present the show from kneeling down beside a bed in a travel lodge one time. That was less comfortable than this one, I must admit.
Yes, but we are open to invitations to broadcast
Yes,
from other places. If anybody wants
absolutely.
to invite us to their crib
I hadn't really
to make a
planned where I was
broadcast.
going to do today's broadcast from, so I was wondering. My first couple of ideas weren't any good because the kind of mid-morning restaurant in a Premier Inn, it would have been fine, but it had very loud background music, so that was no
Yeah,
use.
yeah.
And so on and so on. And I suddenly thought, well, why not try the library? I should really have tried here first because it's been a lovely place to do it. It's big enough. I mean,
Yeah,
if it was a small library, it might be more difficult,
yeah.
but it's on
And did
3 or 4 different floors, and there's quiet areas and noisier areas,
and
so
did you
it's
speak to
good.
staff about it, or did
I
you just
did,
get on?
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Okay.
missed the chance to use the acoustic pod, which
Uh-huh.
is available
Uh-huh.
for kind of meetings and things, because somebody else had booked it, and I just turned
Yeah.
up off the street. But
Uh,
I found a corner here where I hope I've not disturbed too many other people, and
mm,
it's just been lovely actually. So it's a lovely
mm,
feel to the place.
good. Well, we recommend libraries anyway, and Edinburgh
Particularly
Library has just
Edinburgh
got
Central
a very
Library.
good
Yes,
recommendation now. Practical personal use. Okay, thanks for joining us today, and
indeed.
have a good week, and we'll see you next time. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye bye now.